So I'd like to introduce myself now that my elders have introduced themselves. My name is Kelly Bannister, and I have the privilege of being the chair for the conference. But it's sort of like the tip of the iceberg, if you want, because really all of the work is all of the people, the giants on the shoulders of whom I stand. And so I wanted to just ask those people, I wanted to acknowledge those people and those organizations that have brought us here today. The best parts about me, I want you to know the best parts about me. That is that I'm a mom of 2 kids, and having 2 kids changed my life. And as I said to our workshop participants yesterday, what that really did, among other things, was help me set my priorities. And in terms of my work-life, what that meant was I went down from a fairly high functioner to about 10% of that. And so I continued to maintain my 10 or 11%. But what that did is that 10% is only the work that I love. I only do the work that I love and I'm passionate about. So having kids was the best thing for many reasons in my life. And I love and I'm so thrilled to be here today and working with these people and with all of you here. The other great thing about me, the best part of me, is I get to live beside Florence on a little tiny island called Thetis Island. And so I get to see her regularly. There are a lot of people here who have come from all across the country. We have people from almost every province and from as far away as Newfoundland, and even farther afield from Australia and from Ohio. And so people have come, and as Florence, I think, said, we didn't have a room big enough to fit everybody in. And so that is a great thing, but it's also been really challenging to organize a gathering of this nature. We purposely organized it to be small, on the small side, so that we could work together. And that meant that a lot of people couldn't be here with us today. So we're hoping that we can share with them what we learned, because they couldn't actually be here in person. I want to acknowledge all of the speakers, the invited speakers who have come. They're spending several days, including their travel, to be here. There's a number of us, and I want to especially acknowledge and thank them, and also our keynote speakers, Dr. Marlene Brandt-Castellano and Lily Ermine, who will be sharing words with us today. Thank you so much. I know that neither of you go to that many events these days, and it's very special that you've chosen to come and be a very important part of these gatherings. Thank you. We have representatives from institutions and organizations of all sorts. If you take a look at the participant list, we have SHRC, CAHR, Aboriginal Institute for Aboriginal People's Health, the Panel on Research Ethics, the Secretariat on Responsible Conduct, Tribal Parks, Public School System, universities, of course, Indigenous communities, health authorities, friendship centers, the Michael Smith Foundation, community and nonprofit organizations, consultants, students, and interested others. This is, as I said yesterday at our workshop, this is not a cross-disciplinary gathering, it's an extraterrestrial gathering. And I think that makes it already that people have wanted to come and given up time to come. And all that it takes to be here are families and friends who are supporting us and filling in the gaps for what we're not able to do because we've chosen to be here. This event is already a success. This event has already accomplished its goals. The goals of this event were to bring us together. And so we're so privileged that we could convene this meeting. Thank you. We can leave now and enjoy the Vancouver. This conference is meant to be a little different. It's meant to be, it may be a bit unfamiliar in some ways, and perhaps even sometimes uncomfortable, as we explore what it means and what it really takes to be in relationship in our work, to be, as our elder Florence said, be working with peace within ourselves. And much of our work, it's particularly difficult because much of our work is based in institutions that do not recognize, let alone foster, the relationship that we know needs to be a part of this work. So we're really challenged. We, in fact, may have significant obstacles to being in relationship with one another, beginning with the very premise of the academic research endeavor, as Dr. Petter pointed out. We have in this country right now excellent, what I would consider excellent ethical research guidance. Marlene has she's going to speak to her depth of experience over the years in being involved in moving that forward, and we have her to thank in a lot of ways for what that guidance holds today and many others. For my short academic career, I've lived myself through the Tri-Council Policy Statement version 1, 1998, which had I believe called Section 6, which was officially in abeyance. It was the section that talked about research involving Aboriginal peoples, but it was officially in abeyance and devoid of any guidance. That was the guidance I had when I was doing my PhD. I was very privileged to work as part of the Aboriginal Ethics Working Group under CIHR, the Canadian Institute for Health Research, and the Institute for Aboriginal People's Health, who commissioned some guidelines to be developed in 2007 to address that gap. And part of that also were Fern Bruner, who's in the room today. Can you stand up? Where did you go? Fern was part of that committee, and our Elder Sean Haynes was part of that committee as well. So it was a great privilege to be a part of that work under the leadership of Doris Cook. And in 2007, I look back, we started that work in 2004. And by 2007, those guidelines came out, and they really bridged a gap. The iPinch project was born in that time, the idea of it. So that project also has lived through quite an evolution in research ethics and ethics guidance. The Tri-Council Policy Statement version 2 came out in 2010 with Chapter 9, among other things. And I was also privileged to serve on the Panel on Research Ethics Technical Advisory on Aboriginal Research under the leadership of Marlene Brant Castellano, and along with Willie Ermine, who was also on that part of that work. And we eventually were able to advise and help move things forward with Chapter 9 that came out. It was a great privilege to be a part of that work with all of you. Now we have even a newer version of Tri-Council Policy Statement, version 2, 2014, and seems to me a commitment to further evolution of that policy. This is really important work. It's taken a lot to get there. And as I said, I think the guidance is excellent, and we're all striving very hard to meet those guidelines, to meet those aspirations, to practice those principles in the work that we do. And we're learning much, and we're challenged, and we're growing, and changes are happening, and all those are all good things. We've got, over the next couple of days, issues and challenges that people are going to share and bring forward in really honest, deep ways. And we also have solutions. We have some resources and remedies and ideas about how people have addressed their challenges, or how they may be addressing their challenges to share. But this conference is about that. But this conference is also asking us to think beyond the guidance. It's asking us, what else? What else might we need to move our work forward so that we can work better together? And Florence has mentioned the peace within, and others are going to speak to this as well. Willie's going to tell us about ethical space, and we're going to explore that a little bit, that concept of ethical space, which is a really important concept for many of us. And what does that really mean? What does that concept really mean? So the question is, and the goal is really, what does it take? What does it mean, and what does it really take to work better together? So it's a great privilege to be able to explore that question with you today. And as I said, it's already a success. But what we have is some opportunity and some tools to help guide our group through meeting those questions. As I said, the design of this conference is purposely small. It's set in, I hope, what you would say is a beautiful facility with great food. The food, by the way, is locally sourced, it's organic, it's all made here, and we wanted to make sure people were well nourished and well cared for here. The art is beautiful. has a great story to it. Wait till you see where you're going to eat lunch. It's really beautiful. We have a number of methods that we're using to try to be more interactive and a little bit different. There's presentations that are going to happen where the 3 of the 4 sessions have breakout sessions that will help us. We have a pads of yellow sticky notes on the tables. And this is our key, very sophisticated tool. What did somebody say? They appreciated the analog. What did you say, John? They appreciated that we were using analog.
The analog devices.
Analog devices.
This helps me.
Yeah. So we're going to use sticky notes to help capture some of our sticky issues throughout the conference. And so after session 1, hopefully you'll have some burning sticky issues or questions. And we're going to be asking you to use the sticky notes as a tool to write down one issue or question or idea on per sticky note. And we're going to be working with them on the back board over there. And I'll explain that later. We have also our graphic recording, which I mentioned, and I'm going to give just a moment to Sam Brad to introduce himself and explain what is he doing over there.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And thank you very much. It's a privilege to be joining you. It was an amazing opening yesterday to the pre-conference workshop. And my role for the next 2 days is to be your graphic recorder. And that means I listen deeply, taking in the information and reflecting it back to you using visuals. And in a short way, my philosophy is that we are co-creating these images together. And so if there are changes or connections that you see that you would like to be greater articulated, or you think that things should be adjusted, please let me know. We can talk about it, or again, we can use the analog sticky notes and you can just put them up on my board and I'd be happy to integrate those.
Thank you, Sam. So we really encourage you to get into the sticky business and the sticky methodology and start interacting with Sam and the board in the back. Please feel free. That is a way to get your voice into another aspect of the exchanges and into the proceedings and all the rest. We're also videotaping the presentations. We're not doing general videotaping of the conference or the breakouts, but we are videotaping the presenters for all the presenters who have agreed to be videotaped. And we also have the students who are taking notes, and they have an audio recorder going for the sessions and the breakouts, only for the purposes of to help them with accurate notes for the proceedings. They're not going to be used for any other purpose. If at any time that you're uncomfortable with any of the recording methods that we're using and you want to say something and you don't want it recorded in any way, please just say so. That is okay. We have a commitment to share our work, but we also have a commitment to you to make sure you feel comfortable in this space. So please let me know if I can help in that way, or just feel free just to say stop. We also have photos being taken throughout. We're trying to gather some formal photos from the breakouts. So thank you in advance for your patience as we take a moment and take a photo. As I said, there's a number of outcomes. We want to produce a detailed proceedings. We will do that. There is we want to make the speakers' presentations available online for all the speakers who agree to that. We want to produce an edited volume, and there's a number of other kinds of things that I think will emerge. And so we hope to really do some good work after the conference in making what we've learned more useful and more widely available to others. We have some social media. I don't even know what Twitter is, really. Never tweeted. We have Kristen Dobbin, who's in charge of that, and we have a hashtag. So we have a hashtag, which don't ask me about that part either. If you have any questions about social media, it's Kristen, but our plan is just to have some highlights out there on social media, no details, just some highlights. And if you are into that kind of thing, which I don't know much about, the request is that we just be respectful and responsible about what we put on social media, because things out of context might be taken in a different way. So we just ask to use use respect and discretion and responsibility in how you do that. We have opportunity for, this conference is not just about exchanging with one another around Indigenous Research Ethics, but it is for your benefit. If it's useful for you to be meeting and connecting with other people, that is part of our goal as well. So we really encourage you to meet one another, and there's a table set up, which I believe is in the lunchroom.
In the modern art gallery, right?
In the modern art gallery, which is
I'll describe it later.
which is our lunchroom.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So when we go for lunch, you'll be able to see a table and people have things on display, or they have things that you can take, and you're welcome to put your things there as well, so we can exchange it that way. So in terms of the program, there is essentially a couple of plenary keynote presentations that will happen, and there are 4 sessions over the course of the next 2 days. The first 2 sessions are today, and the second 2 sessions are tomorrow. And I'll explain more about those as we go. And we had that interspersed with some being in movement exercises by somebody very special who I'm going to introduce in a moment. And I also want to say, because this is the most unenviable part of the conference, I borrowed these from my kids. We have time angels. And some of our, can you put your hands up or stand up, you time angels? These, and Rebecca, these very brave and wonderful, generous people are the ones who have agreed to keep our speakers down to 12-ish minutes when they're speaking. And we're going to use these cards. Green means go. Yellow means you got 2 minutes left, and we'll put a big 2 on there. And red means we need to find a really good way to end. So if anybody else wants to be a time angel, I'm sure that would be welcome. I really want to thank you in advance because I think it's a really tough job to do. It's a very difficult role. But the reason is because we come here to share and exchange. Everybody in this room has expertise, and any one of you and every one of you would have made a fabulous speaker up here. But there's only so many speakers we can have, and there's only so much listening that we can do, and we want to be interacting with that. So I've asked the speakers to the best of their ability, please stick to the 12 minutes. You have a lot to say, but we need to find other ways, and we will find other ways to share that. So we're going to try and encourage those speakers to cut to the chase and the nutshell, and then we're going to be able to engage with them afterwards in the breakouts and at the breaks. Okay? So when the red card comes up, John suggested that if everybody in the audience, when you see a red card, if you just start applauding, then that could be an easy out for people.
Hey,